Ever wonder where that whole flying saucer thing got started?
Mm.
Like that image we all have in our heads of these discs zipping around.
Right.
It's got to come from somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Well, buckle up, because today's deep dive takes us back to the 1950s.
Okay.
Right when the world was going nuts for UFOs.
Right.
We're digging into Flying Saucers from Naziland.
Okay.
This book by Maurizio Verga.
Mm.
And let me tell you, it is packed with wild stories from that era.
It really was a time when just rampant speculation.
Oh, yeah.
And honestly, a lot of paranoia. People had just come out of World War II.
Right.
Seen all that crazy tech.
Yeah.
So the idea that there were these secret weapons out there.
Oh, for sure.
Especially ones the Nazis had.
Right.
It's huge.
Totally.
People ate that stuff up.
And that's where our guy comes in. Giuseppe Belluzzo. Now, this wasn't some random dude with a telescope, okay? Belluzzo, he was legit. Engineer, the real deal.
Right.
A pioneer, I'm talking steam turbine design, worked on cannons.
Wow.
Even messed around with early jet engines back in the 40s.
In the 40s?
Yeah, but then 1950 hits, and he makes this claim out of nowhere.
What's that?
Throws himself right into the thick of it.
Okay.
The whole flying saucer craze.
Yeah.
What's wild is Belluzzo, he wasn't saying he invented flying saucers.
Right.
He said he saw plans.
Plans, really?
Yeah, for these disc-shaped aircraft years earlier.
Like how many years are we talking?
Like way back 1942.
During the war?
Yeah, right in the middle of it.
Oh.
And we're not talking some buried article in a science journal either. This thing, it blew up, made headlines everywhere.
Wow.
Suddenly, everyone's got Hitler and Mussolini on the brain again.
Oh, I bet.
Nazi superweapons.
Yeah.
The public went wild.
Can you imagine?
I know, right?
I mean, people back then, they were desperate for answers. Anything to explain what they were seeing or thought they were seeing.
Totally.
And Belluzzo, he swoops in with this crazy story. And you got to remember, this is the Cold War, early days.
Yeah.
Everyone's terrified of the Soviets.
Yeah.
What if they got their hands on some crazy Nazi tech? Belluzzo's story played right into all that fear.
Totally fueled the fire.
Exactly.
That maybe, just maybe, the Nazis were onto something big.
Exactly. Something nobody else had even dreamed of.
There's always a but, right?
Right.
Not everyone bought it. Some of the big aviation guys back then.
They are skeptical.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Why is that?
Well, Belluzzo's story,
Yeah.
intriguing as it was,
Mm-hmm.
it didn't quite add up.
In what way?
Technically, it didn't make sense.
I see.
I can just picture those engineers now,
Yeah.
hunched over their blueprints, scratching their heads
That's
like,
just-
electro what now?
Exactly. Electrogravitics. Even today, it's pretty out there. Barely a theory, let alone actual science.
Right, right.
Back then, forget it.
Yeah.
So when Belluzzo drops this word, like it's the answer, these aviation experts are like, hold on,
I bet.
something's fishy here.
Yeah, you got to wonder, though. If he's really after fame, trying to make a comeback, why not make up something believable?
That's the question, isn't it?
Why be so vague?
Right, like where are the specifics?
It's possible he was holding back. Maybe protecting someone, you know?
Oh.
Or maybe he just knew if he went full-blown crazy with it,
Yeah.
the science guys would eat him alive.
True.
And don't forget, the 50s, it was like open season for this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Guys popping up left and right,
Really?
claiming they had the secret to some miracle Nazi weapon.
Get out of here.
Trying to cash in on all that Cold War fear.
Wow. So Belluzzo, maybe he saw them doing that.
Maybe. And thought, hey, I could do that too.
So he throws his hat in the ring.
Exactly.
But here's where it gets good. Verga, he really digs into this in the book.
Oh, yeah.
Belluzzo, he said he saw these plans around the same time the Germans were supposedly working on the same thing.
No way.
Swears up and down. So was it just a coincidence? Or was there something more going on behind the scenes?
Like some secret collaboration.
Exactly.
See, this is where things get tricky.
Okay.
Belluzzo's claims about seeing those plans in 42. Intriguing? Sure. But after he dies in 52, that's when things really go off the rails.
Well, so?
People start saying Belluzzo didn't just see plans. He actually worked on these Nazi saucers.
Whoa, hold on.
Alongside some big names, too.
Like who?
Rudolf Schriever.
Okay.
Richard Meath.
Never heard of them.
Yeah, Schriever was a German engineer, aeronautics.
Okay.
Some people say he was designing disc-shaped aircraft.
Really?
Yeah, during the war.
Wild.
And then there's Meath. inventor, engineer, the whole shebang, supposedly worked on this project, alternative energy sources, that kind of thing.
Alternative, like what?
Well, some folks, they link it to anti-gravity.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, but here's the catch.
What's that?
There's zero proof Belluzzo ever worked with either of them.
So we're talking pure speculation.
Pretty much.
I mean, it's one thing to say a respected guy like Belluzzo maybe exaggerated a bit,
Right.
but to connect him to these, what did you call them, shadowy figures?
Yeah.
Without any real evidence? That's a stretch.
Exactly. And you got to remember, Belluzzo, he dies before the internet.
True.
Back then, you couldn't just fact-check something with a click.
Right.
Once a story was out, it was out. Easy to twist, easy to add on.
So Belluzzo's story, it just becomes this game of telephone.
Kinda, yeah. A little truth, a lot of speculation.
And bam.
You've got yourself a legend.
It's like that whole thing, right?
We love a good story.
Oh, absolutely. Even if it's, you know,
A little embellished.
maybe more than a little.
Especially when it comes to stuff we don't understand.
Exactly, like UFOs.
People crave that mystery.
Totally.
It's like our brains are wired for it.
So where does that leave us with Belluzzo?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Did he actually stumble onto something real back in 42?
A genuine secret weapon blueprint, just hidden away.
Or was this all, like we said, just a guy trying to stay relevant?
Honestly. We may never know for sure.
That's kind of frustrating, isn't it?
A little bit, yeah.
But also kind of cool, right?
Totally.
Like some mysteries are better left unsolved.
Exactly. Adds to the intrigue.
Makes you think, though.
What's that?
Belluzzo's story, true or not,
Yeah.
it really took off.
Oh, for sure.
Published everywhere.
Newspapers, magazines.
Yeah, people eating it up.
Influenced a lot of folks, I'd bet.
That's what's wild, right?
Was
He might have accidentally shaped
Yeah.
the whole flying saucer myth.
It's true. Think about it.
Like, people read his descriptions,
Even if they were kind of out there,
and maybe those descriptions, they stuck with people.
got their imaginations going.
And that's what we remember.
Exactly. The image, the idea.
So maybe Belluzzo's real legacy
Yeah.
isn't steam turbines or cannons.
Right.
It's the flying saucer.
The power of an idea.
Exactly.
It can really take on a life of its own.
Well, folks, there you have it. Another deep dive in the books.
Always a trip.
Today, we learned
Let's see. What did we learn?
history is messy.
That's for sure.
People love a good story.
Always.
And sometimes the best stories are the ones we can't quite explain.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
That's all the time we have for today.
Until next time.
Keep your eyes on the skies.
And your mind's open.
You never know what you might see.